Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more transfer rumours and gossip. So these are lots to negotiate on this video today. Going to give you the latest news about Milinkovic Savic, also going to give you the latest news about Sean Longstaff, and of course these are lots of other things to currently talk about as always. But we will currently start with Milinkovic Savic. So reportedly now Manchester United are closing in on signing Milinkovic Savic from Lazio. It's coming from an Italian outlet, saying that Manchester United, of course, are closing on signing. Reportedly, it does say, according to the Express, that a fee and that's been agreed, a contract term and that has been agreed, and reportedly, we are set to sign him for around 70 million euros, which obviously, equates to around 67 million pounds in pound sterling and all that. And reportedly, he's set to sign a 5-year deal with Old Trafford, is Milinkovic Savic. But obviously, we do know that Manchester United are seeing him as a replacement for Paul Pogba. Obviously, we do know that Milinkovic Savic has been relentlessly, linked to move to Manchester United. Obviously, don't forget, was obviously in for the player last summer, but I do believe, Lazio were demanding in the region of around 108 million pounds last summer. And obviously, a lot of talks, were going on about this the other week, and it was stemming from Sky in Italy, and I think it was also, stemming from Damasio and all that. It was a very, very reliable Italian journalist, and he did initially say that Manchester United, were in for Milinkovic Savic. So I do believe, I've identified him as our number one target, of course, to replace Paul Pogba at the football club. So potentially, didn't this just say the other week that Manchester United had lodged around a £72 million bidding for him? This is what it said the other week. Obviously, Lazio, this is obviously too insufficient for Lazio, because obviously, Lazio were initially, demanding in the region of around £90 million and all that. Obviously, we do know Milinkovic Savic is 24 years of age, of course, he's Serbian. Obviously, he has been in Italy, with Lazio for 4 years. Obviously, he scored 31 goals. He's hitting around 138 games. Only signed a new deal last October with Lazio, so I do believe he's under contract with them until 2023. And I do believe, Manchester United have been in extensive talks with Lazio over getting a possible deal concluded. And I do believe, Milinkovic Savic's agent had actually, travelled to the UK the other week. So I do believe also Manchester United have been in negotiations with his current agent. I do believe that Milinkovic Savic has been inconsistent in the last 5 or 6 months, but I do believe in the majority of his 4 years with Lazio, he's done really, really well. He has scored goals, he can create chances, can Milinkovic Savic. I do believe, if I'm right, is he primarily a central midfielder, so mainly box to box. I do believe he can, I think he can actually play him as an attacking midfielder, but we've identified him now as our number one target, of course, to replace Paul Pogba at the football club. But it has been quite a few players, names mentioned, who could replace Paul Pogba and that at Manchester United. I did say Milinkovic Savic's move to Manchester United, could be dependent on, what happens with Paul Pogba. There's still a possibility chance, that Paul Pogba, could remain at the football club, even though we do know that Paul Pogba wants to leave. Obviously, we do know he's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. Obviously, he's obviously been linked to a move to Juventus, but I do believe Paul Pogba's first choice preference, for quite some time has been Real Madrid. And I do believe, Paul Pogba and Manchester United are in negotiation with Real Madrid regarding the sale and that of Paul Pogba, because obviously, we want somewhere in the region around 150 million pounds. But anyway, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, I still believe it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to actually, still recommend a couple of new additions in that current midfield. Because obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player Paul Pogba is. But now, reportedly, we've agreed this is from the Express, we've agreed a fee which is around £67 million. Reportedly, we've also agreed the contract, and reportedly, Milinkovic Savic, is Serbian, he's set to sign a 5-year deal with Old Trafford. So looking at ultimately, he actually, could be our third signing this summer. So obviously, if we've got him for £67 million, obviously we've spent £65 million so far on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. That will total it up to around what is it? So we spent £65 million, so that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. That'll be around £132 million. So it'll take our spending to £132 million or something like that, if we do get the deal fully finalised for Milinkovic Savic. But I did say, initially that midfield area is one of the pivotal areas, of course, where Manchester United have currently, got a strengthening up. So looking at it now, Milinkovic Savic, could possibly, be our third signing this summer. But it probably, will be a good adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. But, with the situation with Paul Pogba and all that, he could be still at Manchester United, when we do currently play Chelsea on on the opening day of the season. As you all do currently know, with Paul Pogba, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did recently say he has revealed Paul Pogba for the captaincy at Manchester United next season. So he has considered to give Paul Pogba the captaincy, obviously in a bid to convince him to remain at the football club. But I did initially say anyway, we need to sell players, to help us generate funds and of course rebuild the squad. Even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer himself is very adamant, that we don't need to currently sell players. But obviously Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku have both been relentlessly linked to a move away from the football club. But like I did initially say, based on the extortionate amount, we have put on both players, this could be the stumbling block of both players making their proposed moves away from Manchester United. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer quite recently, has been talking a lot about Paul Pogba, and obviously, he was recently talking about Paul Pogba. Well, he was talking to Paul Pogba in regards to his long-term future. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says Manchester United can rebuild around Paul Pogba, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did tell Paul Pogba that he doesn't need to leave Manchester United to fulfil his ambitions. But this got confirmed, was it last month or just over a month ago now, saying that Paul Pogba, is seeking for a new challenge. He publicly admitted that he wants to leave Manchester United, and he was obviously not orchestrating on, of course, putting in a transfer request. But obviously, we do know, like I said, for quite a while, Paul Pogba's first choice preference has been Real Madrid. Like I said, he's also been linked to a move to Juventus. But like I did say, we want around £150 million of Paul Pogba. We initially are very adamant that Paul Pogba, of course, is not for sale. Reports actually indicated out the other week saying that we allegedly risen our asking price. It did initially say wanted around 180 million. Obviously, that's double than what we paid from Juventus back in 2016. But Paul Pogba has confirmed that he wants to currently leave the football club. But as you all know, Real Madrid are not keen on a straight cash payment, because obviously Real Madrid themselves so far this summer have spent £300 million on 5 players, and I do believe Real Madrid are trying to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds, to probably meet that £150 million valuation. So I think they're willing to offload James Rodriguez. Obviously they're willing to offload Gareth Bale, because it's looking better him now anywhere that Gareth Bale is going to be leaving Real Madrid. Obviously Real Madrid themselves are desperate to include Gareth Bale in their bid, of course, to sign Paul Pogba. But obviously Zinedine Zidane has identified, Paul Pogba as his main priority target. I do believe also Real Madrid are in for Christian Eriksen, but I do believe, they prefer Paul Pogba in that over Christian Eriksen. But I do believe, Paul Pogba, hasn't really been the player, and hasn't really lived up to expectation levels as we all thought he currently would have done. I still know how much of an imperative player he is, and arguably he's still one of the best midfielders in the world, and I do believe Paul Pogba's had a great start to pre-season. But looking at it, we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first 3 months when he was the interim manager. That's when we saw glimpses of his best form, Paul Pogba's, and we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba, of course, when Ander Herrera, was currently playing. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, knows how much of an imperative player he is. But obviously, we're not in Champions League football for this this season in the Premier League coming up. So obviously, it's going to be hard for us to attract players to elite level. It's also going to be hard for us, to convince our imperative players and that to stay in the football club. It was actually, coming out the other week saying that we was willing to open contract negotiations over obviously, getting Paul Pogba a new contract. Again to try and convince him and that to remain at the football club. But Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, he confirmed a couple of weeks ago that Paul Pogba is processing, leaving the club. But for quite some time his likely destination has been Real Madrid. But Manchester United have held talks, of course, with Real Madrid about the sale and that with Paul Pogba. Our actual valuation, does seem to be a stumbling block of Paul Pogba making his proposed move away from Manchester United. Obviously with Juventus, obviously, they've done good business this summer. They've got De Ligt on the board recently. They've got Adrian Rabiot, they've got Ramsey, they've got Ronaldo on that last summer. So more than likely, Juventus would have to offload 1 or 2 of their essential players anywhere to fund the move for Paul Pogba. And Juventus have spoken with his agent, Mini Raiola and all that. And Juventus director, was recently speaking about, of how much Juventus do love Paul Pogba, because, don't forget Paul Pogba had 4 good years in Turin. He had 4 good years in Turin. He exceeded expectation levels, but hasn't really replicated this, of course, since he did make the return to Manchester United. But Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his contract, with an option to extend it by a further year, and he is on around 290 grand a week. Obviously, we did pay 89 million pounds for him, but Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola has been in the process of finding Paul Pogba a new club at least for the last 2 to 3 months, because Paul Pogba has been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. So regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba anywhere, we are still intending on bringing a couple of new additions in that midfield, because obviously, if Paul Pogba does leave Manchester United, like I said, we're going to need a replacement for him, because obviously without Paul Pogba in that midfield, it looks too imbalanced. Obviously, we're lacking that creativeness in that midfield. But probably, Milinkovic, Savic, probably would be a good replacement for him. So now reportedly reportedly we are on the verge of, getting this deal concluded for him. So reportedly the fees being agreed and the contract term and that has been agreed. But quite recently there has been positive news about, players and that, supposedly coming to Manchester United. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say, he's looking to sign one or two more players at least. But of course, before this current window ends, because obviously, we're not being competitive enough this window at the moment. Obviously, there's only over 2 weeks now remain in this current transfer window. So we've got to hurry up about the business. And obviously, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't get all the players he wants, and all that, you can basically say the board have definitely let him down. Because analysing our squad at the moment, as it does currently stand at this present time, it's not good enough. Obviously, it isn't competitive enough and all that. And I said, regardless of who our manager is, even if it was a manager to the highest level we had in, they would still struggle with this current Manchester United squad. We've got two good players in. We spent £65 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, £68 million if you want to include the add-ons. And obviously, we're seeing glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, because they've done really well in pre-season so far. I said with Daniel James, he's still a prospect. He still needs time to develop, but he's got electrifying pace, which is also very, very essential. And also with Wan-Bissaka, I do believe he's got all the ingredients required, to become a huge success at Manchester United. But we need more than that, and I think now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's top priority, will be to get a central defender and an experienced centre-half. He'll also want to have reinforcement in that midfield. We also do need a right winger. We need someone that can link up with the likes of Martial, Rashford and Greenwood and that in our attacking line. So still lots to address in that in the squad. But with Paul Pogba, I think if he leaves Manchester United, of course, we'll end up making the move to Real Madrid. But like I did say, last year, Paul Pogba was subject to a lot of transfer speculation, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. And obviously, there was talks about him going to Juventus last year. I think there was also talks about him going to Barcelona in January. Obviously, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho left the football club. But Paul Pogba's stats were very impressive last season. He made 47 appearances in all competitions. Obviously, he scored 16 goals, I think, and provided 11 assists. And since he rejoined the club in 2016, obviously scored 31 goals in 135 games, I think, for the club, and he's obviously won the Europa League and the League Cup awards. Obviously, that came in his second season with Manchester United, and obviously that came in Jose Mourinho's first season. But maybe the couple of main factor reasons why Paul Pogba wants to leave the club, because maybe he wants to rejuvenate his career. Maybe he is frustrated there with lack of competitiveness at Manchester United. Maybe he feels, like I said, he feels as though he's playing amongst good enough players. He maybe wants to be there winning stuff and challenging for stuff, and he's not really experiencing this at Manchester United. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, still knows how much an imperative player he is, because obviously when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer managed the Manchester United reserve team, obviously he watched some of this team in this day and age go and develop, and of course one of them players, of course, was Paul Pogba. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does know how much Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did initially built a great relationship up and that with Paul Pogba. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer basically is working on trying to keep his imperative players at the football club. But so do you think do you believe Milinkovic Savic would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba? I don't really know much about the player, to be quite honest. I've watched him quite a few times for Lazio, and he doesn't seem a bad player, but hopefully I hope to say that he's got all the attributes to come and succeed in the Premier League, and I hope he can exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. Don't get me wrong, this could be the media just speculating on the story about Milinkovic Savic, but according to quite a few media outlets, they're saying this is stemming from an Italian outlet. He's saying Manchester United are reportedly on the verge of signing Milinkovic Savic. We're set to get him for around €70 million, which equates to around £67 million sterling, and reportedly he's set to sign a 5-year contract term and all that. So this is according to the media. Like I said, it's not always reliable. What it's some of the stories it comes out with in the media. So but I'm just giving you my opinion of what it's basically come out with in the media about Milinkovic Savic. But like I said, we have been in for him since last summer. Obviously, I think was also scouting Milinkovic Savic under the Jose Mourinho era. But he actually reported out about this from Sky in Italy last week. We'd put £72 million in. Obviously, it did say it was going to be turned down because obviously it was too insufficient for Lazio. Want to give you the latest news now in regards to Sean Longstaff. Now, there's also positive news coming out about Sean Longstaff. So now, reportedly, Manchester United are in for Sean Longstaff, as you all know. Reportedly now, we are orchestrating on, putting around a £30 million bid in for him. Obviously, we have not made an official bid yet for Sean Longstaff. Obviously, we do know he's been on our agenda for quite some time. Obviously, reflected back a couple of weeks ago, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had instructed Manchester United, to get a transfer prioritised for Sean Longstaff. Now, obviously, as it did confirm a couple of weeks ago, I think this was stemming from Sky Sports. They basically said that Manchester United have held high-level talks with Newcastle about Sean Longstaff. But now, actually, Newcastle obviously they actually came out and they basically indicated out that Sean Longstaff is not for sale, and reportedly Newcastle are wanting the access of at least £50 million, of course, if they are willing to offload the player. Now, obviously, I doubt Manchester United are willing to pay £50 million for his services, because I do believe that's too extortionate for a player of Sean Longstaff's calibre and level. Because you can still say, really, looking at it, Sean Longstaff's, I have the similar sort of thoughts with Daniel James, but I'm going to say the same about Sean Longstaff with the similar thoughts I've got. I think Sean Longstaff, still needs time to develop. He definitely still needs time to develop, so I will still classify Sean Longstaff as a prospect. And of course, he is only 21 years of age, and he has still got to get a bit more experience under his belt. He has got a bit of experience. He only made his senior debut for Newcastle in December of last year. Obviously, he did well in the second half of last season. I think, reflecting on his impressive performances, he had been given a new contract with Newcastle, so he's under contract with them, I think, till 2022, because obviously he did sign a 4-year contract. And I do believe he thrived under Rafa Benitez's guidance last season, did Sean Longstaff. But I do believe, following, the departure of Rafael Benitez, I thought, obviously, we've been given a boost. We've been given a boost in our pursuit of Sean Longstaff. Obviously, Steve Bruce has obviously, just recently, been appointed as Newcastle's new manager. And Steve Bruce has had this say on, the speculation, linking Sean Longstaff from move to Manchester United. And basically, Steve Bruce has confirmed that Sean Longstaff's future lies with Newcastle United. So Steve Bruce has confirmed that he's Sean Longstaff is part of his plans going on into this season for Newcastle, and he has rubbished Steve Bruce has rubbished reports of Sean Longstaff joining Manchester United and all that. But reportedly Newcastle do want at least around £50 million. Obviously, they've already lost Perez to Leicester, so Newcastle probably do know how much of an essential player he is. But yeah, we only initially value him from between 18 to 20 million pounds. That obviously Newcastle are demanding more than double that. But we've held quite a lot of talks with Newcastle over getting a deal over the line. So Sean Longstaff to Manchester United, could still possibly happen. Maybe £30 million, could be enough to convince them to offload him. But there again, I do believe it could be actually too insufficient, because don't forget Newcastle said they want £50 million, but I don't believe Manchester United are willing to pay that, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed we're not willing to overspend on our transfer tags. And look, quite a few people said, look, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer. Recently, actually Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was speaking about our recruitment policy. But Sean Longstaff is primarily a central midfielder, obviously 21 years of age, so if he's primarily a central midfielder, obviously that means he's a box-to-box midfielder. And if he did come to Manchester United, I do believe he would have all the ingredients required, to become a huge success at Manchester United. I would be sceptical about him, getting assured, first team football week in, week out, Sean Longstaff, because maybe he wouldn't, get straight into the first team and all that. But like I said, his move to Manchester United is still a possibility. Obviously, he initially began his career with Newcastle, did Sean Longstaff, so he was a product of their academy. Obviously, he also had loan spells with Blackpool. He also had a loan spell with Kilmarnock. But yeah, reportedly now Manchester United are preparing to put around a £30 million bidding for him. I do believe Ed Woodward remains in the UK. He does remain in the UK, because I do believe Manchester United, we are hopeful that we can complete deals for Sean Longstaff and Harry Maguire, of course, from Leicester. But now, breaking news is, with Milinkovic, Savic, he actually could be our third signing this summer. So obviously I've identified him as a replacement for Paul Pogba, as you all know. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, anyway, was recently, speaking about our ambitions for next season, and he believes we'll be aiming for further up than fourth this season. I initially said I do believe our expectations, at least this season in the Premier League, will be to finish in that top four. I do believe we'll have a better season in the Premier League this season than last season, because last season was disappointing. We finished sixth. Obviously, we missed out on Champions League. So I do believe we'll have a better season this season. I don't think we'll win the league, but I think we could finish in the top four. Maybe of course in the top three. But yeah, he was recently, speaking about the club's ambitions, where was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like I said, he has spoken to the vast majority of our players throughout the course of the summer. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say, there has been lots of speculation about players coming in and, of course, players going out. But he's very, very adamant, that we don't need to sell players, like he has currently confirmed. He says, obviously, we're not intending on overspending on our transfer targets. But, of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is aware of the speculation. But we just want to back, to being a competitive elite level football club. And obviously analysing it at the moment, City's strides ahead of us, obviously, Liverpool and that has strides ahead of us, and obviously looking at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's still in the process of rebuilding, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes he's following a policy, that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recommend young players to come in that can grow, develop and emulate and that into superstars, and so there's a lot of young players on our agenda, a lot of British players and that on our agenda, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talents and that to Manchester United this summer. I do know a hell of a lot of money is being invested into the club, since Alex Ferguson retired, because we've had different managers with different philosophies, and we have been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years. But the main factor reason why we have been a toxic club, because obviously being mismanaged, this is the main factor reason, of course, why we have been underachieving. But like I said, players have come in, and of course players have gone, and we've got a history of spending big on players, especially in recent years. Lukaku 75 million, Paul Pogba and that 89 million pounds, and you can basically say Daniel James, what we paid for him was a reasonable figure compared to what we paid for Lukaku and Pogba in recent years and all that. But like I said, guys, these are still lots to currently address in the squad. But like I said, we've got to get at least 1 or 2 more players in before this current window does currently shut. But we haven't been competitive enough in the last couple of windows, haven't we? Let's be honest, we didn't sign anyone in January. Obviously, we didn't get as number 1 targets last summer. And obviously, we didn't get as number 1 targets last summer because obviously, the board weren't backing the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend into the football club. So, Milinkovic Savic now to Manchester United is looking likely, according to reports. Obviously, Sean Longstaff to Manchester United is still a possibility. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes' transfer saga to Manchester United, of course, does continue to persist. Obviously, for the entirety of the summer, basically, Bruno Fernandes has been linked to move to Manchester United. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes has been talking about his proposed move to Manchester United. With his representatives and all that. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes' agent actually been in the UK quite recently, to thrash out a deal with Manchester United. So basically, Bruno Fernandes' agent, I think, he's travelled to the UK a couple of times, to obviously thrash out a deal. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes' agent is looking for the best possible deal for his client. Obviously, I do believe Tottenham have also held talks with Bruno Fernandes' agent. Also, I do believe Liverpool have had a couple of negotiations there with Bruno Fernandes' agent, so he has been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. But I do believe, we've been considered the favourites to sign Bruno Fernandes at least for the last 3 to 4 weeks, gone to a ball the Portuguese press. Obviously, I do believe Sporting Lisbon's valuation at this present time seems to be the stumbling block of Bruno Fernandes making his proposed move to Manchester. Now, I do believe the valuation has been a problem for quite some time, because Sporting Lisbon said they initially wanted in the excess of around £70 million. Manchester United have reportedly only willing to pay around £50 million. So reportedly, we are preparing to put a £50 million in bidding, or we have already put a £50 million bidding for the current player. But Federico Verandas, yesterday, the president of Sporting Lisbon, he actually gave us an update, and he basically indicated out, he's told actually Manchester United, that we will have to, he's revealed basically what we have to pay. So he said we have to pay around maybe £60 million, to convince Sporting Lisbon to offload him. So Reportedly, he even quoted out that the president of Sporting Lisbon that even £56 million isn't probably, going to be enough, to convince Sporting Lisbon to offload. So I do believe we need to pay somewhere in the region of close to the £60 million mark, or we have to pay £60 million if we've got any chance of signing Bruno Fernandes. But recently, the boss of Sporting Lisbon, he came out and he basically said, that Bruno Fernandes transfer to Manchester United is close, and he did basically say, Bruno Fernandes' move is probable. So he believes that Bruno Fernandes, of course, will be leaving Sporting Lisbon, because obviously, Sporting Lisbon are looking for the replacement for Bruno Fernandes, because obviously, Sporting Lisbon have come to accept the fact that Bruno Fernandes, does want to leave. Like I did say with the situation with Paul Pogba, it's not having any effect of Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United. So I did say, Bruno Fernandes move to Manchester United, of course, he's not dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes, signed a 5-year deal last summer, so he's under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. His initial release clause is around £88 million, but as you all know, Manchester United are not determined to go anywhere near that figure. So we're not determined to go anywhere near that figure and all that. But with Tottenham, they're in search of a midfield, even though, Tottenham have got 2 players on the board so far this summer. They signed Tanguy and Ndombele for around £55 million. Obviously, I think it was around that figure anyway. That's Tottenham's most expensive signing, because they played a club record record fee for him. Also, they got Jack Clark from Leeds. He has been loaned back to Leeds for next season. But obviously, Christian Eriksen's linked to a move away from Tottenham. Obviously, if Christian Eriksen does leave Tottenham, obviously Real Madrid have been in for him. I think previously Man U had been in for him before. Obviously, Tottenham are going to want a replacement for him. But obviously, before Tottenham, got before Tottenham got Tanguy Ndombele and Jack Clark, they hadn't initially done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. So obviously Tottenham are orchestrating on spending quite a bit spending are orchestrating on spending a substantial amount this summer, because obviously Pochettino did confirm, I think it was prior to the Champions League final last season, that obviously he does want to be back term in this summer window, because obviously Tottenham. In this day and age, in this generation, I think they've got, I think it's the best team, Tottenham have had now in this generation, for quite a long time. They have got a good team, but like I said, they do need a couple of signings. They have got them couple of signings on the board, but they're still planning, to get a couple more players in. I think also Tottenham are still in there for Ryan Sessegnon. But Tottenham have been competitive, for quite some time now. But obviously, to get them that touch a little bit better, to get them winning trophies, like I said, they do need to add a couple of players in there, which they have done, but the Tottenham are still looking to build on that. Obviously with Liverpool, like I said, they've been in for Bruno Fernandes. With Liverpool, they've had, I presume they've had a bad start to pre-season. If I'm right, did they lose to Sevilla 2-1? I think they also lost to someone else, did Liverpool. I think they also lost to Borussia Dortmund, so they haven't had a good start to pre-season. But I don't think really Liverpool, need anybody, because obviously, they've invested well in the last couple of seasons of Liverpool. Obviously, they had a good season last season. Obviously, won the Champions League, but just missed out on the Premier League by finishing second. And obviously, they addressed their deficiencies. They got Virgil van Dijk 75 million. They got a good goalkeeping and all that. But this Liverpool have still got quite a few players on their agenda. But Bruno Fernandes anyway, will make a move, the move to Liverpool. So I do believe, we are considered the favourite to sign him. Obviously, he actually grew up in Italy, did Bruno Fernandes, because that's where he spent the majority of his career when he was younger, the likes of, Sampdoria and Londonese and Novia. So yeah, we could still get this deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. We could actually confirm the signing of Bruno Fernandes, sometime this week. So £65 million spent so far this summer. So say we get Milinkovic, Savic, that'll take it to around that'll take it to around what? I think it's around £132 million. Say you get Bruno Fernandes for around £60 million. That's around £192 million there, currently spent. And then, obviously, say you get Nicolas Pepe, say call it for around, £70 million. That's probably around £260 million spent there. So I think, for us to have any chances of getting all those players, which I don't think we're going to do anyway in space of, 15 or 16 days. Obviously, we're going to have to sell players to help us generate funds and, of course, rebuild the squad. So it's me just estimating. My calculation's not always good, but it's somewhere in that region of what, estimation I did currently, give to you. And, But yeah, still lots of business, to be done. So with Bruno Fernandes, his transfer saga, to Manchester United, does continue to currently persist. But Federico Fernandes did recently say that, there has, been discussions, with Bruno Fernandes in regards to his future. But I think Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United, he would rejuvenate the team. He'd bring us them goals that we need in that midfield. He'd bring us them goals that we need in that midfield, because he can score goals, he can create chances, he can also provide assists, and he's done well in his 2 seasons with Sporting Lisbon. Even though it didn't actually say last week that we wasn't going to be backed with this particular signing of Solskjaer wasn't going to be backed for this particular sign, because it did initially say Ed Woodward had said no to Bruno Fernandes, and it reportedly said the board had concerns about, spending in the excess of £70 million on the player that's got little experience of playing to the highest level. But yeah, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still does want to get this deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. So there's been a lot of midfielders on our agenda, but since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arriving, Valencia's left the club. Obviously he served 10 years with Manchester United, and he was a good servant to the club. Obviously I think he left at the end of last season. I think it was then anyway at that point. Obviously we got our replacement for him for Wan-Bissaka, which was good. Obviously Ander Herrera left on a free transfer. Obviously we need a replacement for him, and obviously Fellaini left back in the January transfer window. And but yeah, I still want more players to leave, so we can obviously generate funds and rebuild the squad. With Nicolas Pepe now, obviously there's positive news that's also been coming out about him today, and also in the last couple of days. So as I did update you on my previous video about Nicolas Pepe. Now potentially the Lille president Gerard Lopez has basically confirmed that Nicolas Pepe is on the verge of leaving Lille. But actually this got confirmed, was it around 6 or 7 weeks ago, that he was currently going to be leaving Lille. So reportedly, Nicolas Pepe's permanent exit is on the verge of completion, as the Lille president, of course, has confirmed. He's also mentioned that there has been big offers for Nicolas Pepe, but it still remains uncertain, where he will be applying his trade this season, Nicolas Pepe, but it's imminent he's going to be leaving Lille. But I think we've been considered the favourites to sign Nicolas Pepe, at least in the last couple of days, because actually, this story stemmed from Duncan Castles, because Duncan Castles came out over the course of the weekend, and he actually said that reportedly Manchester United have moved ahead of Liverpool and Arsenal in the race to sign Nicolas Pepe. So this was actually stemming from Duncan Castles. Duncan Castles, I'm a bit sceptical sometimes about Duncan Castles. He's not always reliable. That got proven with the news about Harry Maguire the other week, when he initially said would agree to a world record fee of £80 million. Obviously, that got proven to be a load of nonsense. But reportedly, I don't think any official bid has been put in yet for Nicolas Pepe. I don't think Arsenal have made any formal offer. Liverpool have not yet made an offer, as far as I'm aware. Liverpool have made contact with his representatives, but they haven't made any offered him for him. Liverpool have been linked to him in the last couple of months. Obviously, Everton have been in there for him. I don't think he'll go to Everton anywhere, because obviously, Everton can't offer him any European football. And I think, quite a few teams have been in there for him. So Nicolas Pepe has been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. He did initially say, we was orchestrating on putting around £70 million bidding for him, because obviously, Lille do value him at around £70 million. But I do believe, Manchester United have held, we've progressed in talks, with Lille about over the transfer of Nicolas Pepe. And he did report out last week that obviously, we'd had a long-standing interest in the player. As far as I'm aware, I think, Nicolas Pepe's first choice preference is Liverpool and all that. But I do believe, if Nicolas Pepe, comes to the Premier League, he will definitely succeed. He's got all the attributes to succeed. I do believe he will exceed expectation levels, and I do believe, it will be the next step for Nicolas Pepe, of course, in his footballing career. But very, very good player indeed. And he's the type of player that Manchester United do need. He's the obvious candidate for the right win for Manchester United, because obviously he's primarily a winner. And I would be excited about the prospect of linking Nicolas Pepe up with the likes of Martial, Rashford and Mason Greenwood. He would blend in our attacking line, fantastically well. And Nicolas Pepe has got goals in him. He's got assists in him. He can create chances. Also, I think he's good in the air. He's also good on and off the ball. His tenacity is good. So, yeah, very, very good player indeed. And only 24 years of age. But he's spent the entirety of his career so far in France, don't forget. Obviously, he has been at Lille a couple of seasons. He was the revelation for Lille last season, scored 22 goals, provided 11 assists, and I think in total, in his 2-year period with Lille, he scored 37 goals in 79 games, I think, in all competitions. And obviously, he's still under contract with Lille until 2022, so he's got 3 years remaining and that on his contract. I think Lille did get him for Mangish, back in 2017, but yeah, very, very likely, that Nicolas Pepe, of course, is going to be leaving, but Manchester United, of course, do need a right winner, and obviously, there has been quite a few winners and that on our agenda. With Arsenal, I don't think they'd be able to get him. I don't think Arsenal would be able to get him. I think the only chances Arsenal have of getting him, they'd probably have to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds, to meet that £70 million valuation. Because don't forget, Arsenal have only got around £40 or £45 million to spend this summer. Arsenal, I do presume, have got a couple of signings on the board. But I just don't think, they'd be able to afford Nicolas Pepe outright. But they've only got between 40 to £45 million to spend this summer, so they have got a tight budget. Obviously, I think Arsenal have actually been in for Nicolas Pepe since January. I do believe at one point, Bayern Munich were in for him, PSG have been in for him. I think the other week it reported out saying that Inter Milan and that were in for him. So many teams, and of course, have inquired about his services. So there is a possibility anyway, that Nicolas Pepe could come to Manchester United, because I do believe a source coming from Napoli saying, that Manchester United, of course, are the favourites to currently sign the current player. So, yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him, currently going on. There has been a lot of talks about him, currently going on. But like I did, I updated you earlier on today, didn't I, if I'm right, and give you the news about Paulo Dybala, didn't I? And I think we're seeing him as a, possible replacement for Romelu Lukaku. But I only think we are only intending on going in for Paulo Dybala, of course, if Manchester United can sell Lukaku, and of course can sell Paul Pogba. It did say, I think it was today or yesterday, I updated you about it today anyway, it said Juventus, are ready to sell Paul Dybala to Manchester United on one condition, and that's if Manchester United are willing to meet what Juventus are demanding, because I do believe Juventus want from between 70 to 90 million pounds. So obviously he's going to cost us a substantial amount. He's Dybala, so I don't think we're going to be able to get him outright. So we're going to have to offload going to have to try and offload Paul Pogba or Romelu Lukaku, to fund the move for Dybala. And Dybala, is a pretty decent player, and I think he's had 4 successful years with Juventus. Well, maybe 3 successful years, because really enjoyed a difficult time last season, because obviously since Cristiano Ronaldo's arrival at Juventus, obviously Paul Dybala has found game time difficult. So obviously he's found himself to requirements. But he's Argentinian Dybala, 25 years of age, still got a lot of years ahead of him. He has got the proven pedigree. He's got that proven pedigree as a goal scorer, because he has scored quite a lot of goals in his 4-year period with Juventus. But the question is, if he was to come to the Premier League, would he be able to deliver the same element of the performances, that he has been doing in his 4 years with Turin. I do believe Juventus got him back in 2015 from Palmeiras, but I do believe Paul Dybala's agent and brother indicated out quite some time back that is a possibility, that Paul Dybala, will leave Juventus this summer. And Juventus, I think, keen on selling him, because obviously, Juventus have done good business this summer, and maybe Juventus want to offload a couple of their players, to help them, generate funds. Obviously, we do know Juventus are not in for Mario Icardi, so actually Juventus could probably see Icardi as a replacement for Paul Dybala. But Paul Dybala may not come to Manchester United, but I think Solskjaer's keen on recommending him in. But I do believe the only chance we've got of getting him is if we can sell Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku. But like I said, we have got pace up front now anyway. We lacked that pace last season. We've got the likes of Daniel James, he's got electrifying pace. You've got Rashford, who's got good pace. You've got Martial, and that's got pace. So we have got some, pace in that attacking line. And if Nicolas, Pepe, or Dybala and that was to come in, would even get more pace in that attacking third of the pitch, which would be very, very good. But like I did say, there's been quite a few names, mentioned, who could replace Romelu Lukaku at the football club. There is still a slight possibility. Well, there's a chance, should I say, there's still a chance that Lukaku could remain at Manchester United and all that. So we do know Lukaku has been relentlessly, linked to move to Inter Milan. Obviously, recent reports did indicate out. Obviously, Inter Milan put a £54 million bidding for Lukaku. Obviously, we do know Manchester United had turned this down, because obviously, we're looking for somewhere in the region of around 75 or 80 million. So we're basically looking to recoup the money that we did pay for Lukaku a couple of years ago from Everton, or even orchestrating on maybe gaining them a little bit of a profit. So we do want from 75 to 80 million pounds. Obviously, Inter Milan are struggling to meet this valuation. Obviously, we do know Inter Milan are under financial fair play restrictions, and obviously we do know that Inter Milan have been trying to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate that 70, to help them fund that 75 or 80 million pound valuation. But we do know Lukaku has made it clear anyway that he wants to leave the football club, because obviously he is surplus to requirements at Manchester United. But for the entirety of the summer, he's been linked to a move to Inter Milan, or for the majority of the summer. I think for the majority of the summer as well, Lukaku has been speaking about his proposed move to Inter Milan. Obviously, Inter Milan have inquired about getting him on a 2-year loan with 9 million paid up front, with them the obligation to buy for the further £54 million at the end of that loan. But obviously, Manchester United didn't entertain this offer, because we're only willing to let him go, of course, on a permanent deal. And we've blatantly made this clear to Inter Milan. But since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's been recommended in, obviously we do know Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku, and I do believe Lukaku has increasingly become frustrated them about this. I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say the other week that he wants him to stay at the club for one more season at least, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was actually in talks with Romelu Lukaku the other week, but it's confirmed that he does want to leave Manchester United. Obviously, reports came out today saying that Inter Milan are orchestrating on offering Ivan Perisic plus cash in exchange for Romelu Lukaku, to help probably convince us, to lower our £75 million valuation, or to help them maybe, meet that £75 million valuation, including the player as part of the deal, plus cash. But more than likely, of course, Manchester United will not entertain this offer. We do know Ivan Perisic was a long-term target under Jose Mourinho. Obviously, was in for him a couple of years ago. But more than likely, won't go along with this, because it did say initially we weren't willing to accept swap deals that Inter Milan have offered us. unwilling to accept swap deals that Inter Milan and that have currently offered us. But obviously, Antonio Conte has identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target, and reflecting back a couple of years ago, Antonio Conte wanted Romelu Lukaku. This is when he was a manager of Chelsea, but obviously he ended up coming to Manchester United. So obviously Antonio Conte has been a long admirer of Romelu Lukaku. Obviously Lukaku did describe Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world. So obviously Lukaku is keen on playing under Antonio Conte's guidance, because probably believes he'll flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance. But actually reports indicated out, was it last month, saying that Lukaku had agreed to personal terms with Inter Milan. It said he agreed a contract worth around 180 grand a week. But obviously we do know that no fee has come to an agreement. So I do believe our valuation seems to be the stumbling block of Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan. Obviously Lukaku's agent, Federico Pastorella, has also held talks with Inter Milan, and he indicated how that Inter Milan are desperate to sign Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, Lukaku does basically want to make the move and that to Inter Milan. But Lukaku's been at Manchester United 2 years. Obviously, he scored 42 goals in 96 games there for the club in all competitions. Obviously, was exceptional in his first season, Lukaku, but of course didn't really replicate that form. Of course, in his second season. So I do believe if we sell Lukaku, it will be beneficial for Manchester United. It'll also be beneficial for the player himself. And he's still 26 years of age, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him as Lukaku. And I do believe if he leaves the football club, obviously, we are going to need a replacement for him. Some people may say we don't need a replacement for him, but I think we do, because you've got Rashford and Martial. They're still both very, very young, and they have got pace, but it's just they still haven't quite emulated that level yet. You've got Mason Greenwood. Obviously, he's assured more playing time going on to this season, which is also very, very good news. Mason Greenwood is only 17 years of age, so he's still inexperienced at the moment. He's had a good start to pre-season, and you've got Chong, who's had a good start to pre-season, but again, he's inexperienced. So if Lukaku leaves, we're definitely going to need a replacement for him. So Dybala may be a good replacement. There's been a few other players mentioned, who could replace Lukaku at the football club. We've heard talks about, Wissam Ben Yedder a couple of weeks back now. People are saying Moussa Dembele would be a good replacement for him because he can score goals, as he has proven. Obviously, people have been saying Icardi would be a good replacement for him. Aubameyang was spoken about last week. So who should replace Lukaku at the football club? Of course, if he does leave Manchester United. But I do believe, we need to sell Darmian and Rojo without a shadow of a doubt. We need to sell Darmian and Rojo because both players have endured difficult times at Manchester United, like I said. Obviously, with Rojo, his Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries sustained. And with Darmian, I think his Manchester United career has been, badly affected because obviously, he hasn't really been given the chance. I think reportedly we want around £20 million for Rojo. As far as I'm aware at the moment, no team has come up with any offer for Rojo. But I do believe we need to sell both players because I think it would be beneficial for us, and I think we can generate maybe around 35 or 30 between 30 or 35 million pounds for the departures of both players. So I do believe Manchester United have currently got to sell players. Obviously with Harry Maguire as well, obviously as you all know, the breaking news came out about that on Sunday, as they have been updating you on a regular basis. Obviously Bleacher Report said that Manchester United have agreed a deal with Leicester for Harry Maguire, and I think the fee is around 80 million pounds, and I do believe this is too extortionate for Harry Maguire because I don't think he's worth 80 million pounds or 85 or whatever. But I think maybe 70 million pounds in this market this day and age is probably reasonable for Harry Maguire. But I do believe of that mark, Leicester are basically asking for too much. But reportedly it said on Sunday we agreed an 80 million pound deal. Obviously, this is a world record fee for a central defender. He reportedly said Manchester United held, obviously had breakthrough win negotiations with Leicester because obviously we've been in negotiations with Leicester for quite some time over getting a deal concluded. It did initially suggest out from Bleacher Report. He did say on Sunday that Harry Maguire's transfer from Leicester to Manchester United now is imminent, and it did say, obviously if we do get him on the board and if he's our third signing, of course, obviously it will take our spending up to around 148 million pounds. But I do believe it should be fully announced sometime this week and all that. Harry Maguire to Manchester United. But Harry Maguire obviously wants to leave Leicester because he obviously told Brendan Rodgers last week. He also informed his Leicester teammates, of course, that he wants to leave Leicester, to rejuvenate his career and of course take his footballing career to the next level. But Leicester did, Harry Maguire, Leicester, did confirm, they informed Harry Maguire, that he can leave Leicester as long as Manchester United or Manchester City are willing to pay him a world record fee fee. So Leicester initially said, you know, they're wanting the excess of £80 million. Reportedly said we pay 70 million up front, you know, over 10 million in add-ons, which does, you know, potentially rise up to around 80 million pounds. But I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target, and reportedly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now wants to blend, he wants to blend Harry Maguire alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. So he wants to put Harry Maguire alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line, because like I said, I think they'll blend in very, very well together. You know, I think they'll do really, really well together, and I think Harry Maguire has demanded that he wants to be Manchester United captain. Of course, if his move to Manchester United, you know, does currently materialise, so Manchester United, you know, may consider giving the captaincy, because, you know, I think he would be a great leader for Manchester United. I think he would show fantastic leadership in our back line. He would, you know, dramatically improve us defensively, because we've had issues defensively for several years, and, you know, obviously last season we conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games. You know, looking at, you know, we haven't had a world-class central defender since we had Vidic and, you know, Fernandes, because they were a fantastic centre-back partnership back in the day under Alex Ferguson. But Harry Maguire, 26 years of age, you know, he has still got a lot of years ahead of him, you know, plus he's British and he's well Premier League proven, which is obviously very beneficial for Manchester United. He's well Premier League proven, you know, which is very beneficial for Manchester United. He's well Premier League proven, like I said. So I think he would succeed at Manchester United and all that. You know, I wouldn't put Harry Maguire in, you know, Virgil van Dijk's calibre or level, because obviously Virgil van Dijk's a better central defender than Harry Maguire, because Virgil van Dijk is regarded as one of the best central defenders in the world. He's definitely, you know, one of the best central defenders in the world. But like I said, Harry Maguire, you know, has been at Leicester a couple of seasons. Obviously, you know, he's made 76 appearances for them in all competitions. 69 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. Don't forget, he's still under contract with Leicester till 2023, because he did sign this 5-year contract last summer. Leicester paid around £17 million for his services from Hull City, but we do know for quite some time that Leicester City's valuation is seen to be the stumbling block of Harry Maguire, you know, making his proposed move to Manchester United or Manchester City. Obviously, City have blatantly made it clear, you know, they're not willing to pay what Leicester and that are currently demanding. I think City are only willing to pay in the excess around £65 million. But reflecting back a couple of weeks ago, you know, it's looking like the City were going to get him. You know, they orchestrated, you know, to pay him around 280 grand a week. City were going to get him for a world record fee of £80 million. And I do believe Harry Maguire's actual preference was a move to Manchester City over Manchester United, because obviously, you know, City have been seeing him as a replacement for Vincent Kompany. But I do believe now, you know, we are in a pole position to currently sign the player. Yeah, so we've been relentless since we moved for Harry Maguire, and I think we was also in for him, you know, during his days with Sheffield United. You know, we was tracking him down when he was a youngster at Sheffield United, because that's where he initially began his career at Sheffield United, progressing them up their ranks and all that. And I think he played around 166 professional games for Sheffield United, and obviously Mike Phelan, you know, during his short tenure with Hull, also, you know, managed Harry Maguire, so I do believe Mike Phelan is keen on recommending Harry Maguire in. Yeah, I think he would be a great addition to the squad, and, you know, he would dramatically improve us. So if we can get the deals over the line for Harry Maguire and Bruno Fernandes and all that, and we can get Milinkovic, Savic in, I do believe that's very good business for Manchester United. It would be incredible if we could get, you know, get all four players in. If we could get Harry Maguire in, Bruno Fernandes, Milinkovic, Savic, and Nicolas Pepe, you know, that would be incredible, you know, to do that business in the space of just over 2 weeks. But I'm very, very sceptical that's, you know, currently going to happen. Obviously, the Sean Longstaff as well. Don't forget on our agenda, as I nearly forgot to mention there. But yeah, if we're going to sign any more players, I probably think we'll end up signing another 1 or 2 more players. I don't think we'll sign any more than that, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. And yeah, still lots to currently address in the squad, but we've got to hurry up now with this business. But the main part of this video was to give you the latest news about Milinkovic, Savic. According to the Italian outlet, is it Repubblicale or something like that? You know, they've said now Manchester United are closing in on signing Milinkovic, Savic from Lazio. Reportedly, the Express have said fees being agreed, and reportedly contracts being agreed. Reportedly, we're set to sign for around €70 million, which equates to around £67 million in pounds sterling. And reportedly, you know, he's going to sign a 5-year deal. So reportedly now we are obviously viewing him as a replacement for Paul Pogba. So that's the breaking news about that. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you guys all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.